right, so looking at the setup that we have here, we've got distilled water, we've got our citric acid, we've got our rennet, we have measuring spoons and measuring cups, we've got a slotted spoon, we have a knife for cutting the cheese. This is going to be our colander for collecting the cheese curds, and then our microwavable bowl will be used when we're doing our stretching. We have a hot plate, and then this is going to be our double boiler setup. To get it ready, I'm going to ask one of you guys to put the milk in the top pot, and the other person to take the bottom pot and get about 1 inch of water, okay? So the milk is in that grocery bag right there. That's it. And so if one of you guys wants to get about 1 inch of water in the bottom pot, that's perfect. And then I'm going to get this hot plate on high.
Does it matter if it's cold or hot?
No, it doesn't matter. Okay.
All of it? Or?
Yep, every bit of it. So we're using 1/2 gallon of whole milk. We're just going to pour it straight on in there. Very good. All right, so while he's finishing that, you can just go ahead and throw that in the trash. We're going to get our double boiler set up and get our milk heating. So go ahead and set that right there. Huh? It should be. We'll see. Sometimes we have too much water, and so we have to take some out. Now, get that other pot and set it down in there, and if it floats, we might have to get rid of some of that water. Yeah, so get rid of a little bit of that water because otherwise it's a little unstable. Go ahead, put that down if you want. All right, let's try it again. And as long as it's not floating terribly, we should be okay. All right, that should be okay. Because we just don't want it to go crazy. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that lid on there and let that start heating a little bit. And eventually we're going to want 90 degrees. But while we wait, we're going to follow these directions that are up here, okay? So you are going to take let's see, 1/8 of a cup of water, and you're going to use the distilled water for this. So 1/8 of a cup of the water, and you're going to take 1/4 teaspoon of rennet and put it in that 1/8 of a cup of water. And then we'll eventually do our citric acid as well. So what kind of, do you have 1/8 of a cup here? All right, let me see if the other set, I've got some more cups over here that show, or that are various sizes. I don't know if I have 1/8 of a cup over here or not. If not, just put approximately half of the 1/4 cup. So that'll work. And just pour regular distilled water into that 1/4 cup.
How much rennet did we need to get?
1/4 teaspoon. Yeah. So we're going to do 1/4 teaspoon of rennet, and we're going to put it in about 1/8 of a cup of distilled water. And that's just going to sit because we don't add that yet. So once you have it in there, just mix it together. A little bit more water. All right, that's perfect. Now pour the rennet in there. Awesome. Awesome. Now just let that sit. Just set it on the paper towel or right there. Just let it sit there, and we'll use it in a little while. Just be careful and don't spill it. Now the next thing it asks us to do is to dissolve our citric acid. Now the citric acid needs to be in, it's going to be 3/4 of a teaspoon. So if you'll find your 1/4 teaspoon and dry it out, you can just do 3 of those. Yeah, so 3 of those. So that'll give us 3/4, okay? And you're going to dissolve it in 1/2 cup of water. So you find your 1/2 cup and get 1/2 cup of water, and we're going to dissolve 3/4 of a teaspoon. of citric acid. And if you spill it, it's not the end of the world.
Good or
Yeah,
more?
that's good.
Okay.
All right, now, again, 3/4 of a teaspoon of citric acid dissolved in that water. All right, now you can use your spoon to stir that around in there. Use
That
that
wood board,
same spoon, yeah, the same spoon that you just used, and stir it so it dissolves. Awesome. And then I will reclaim that citric acid, and we'll get it back in the container. Here's your thermometer. You're going to want to heat this to about 90 degrees. All right, so now go ahead and take the lid off the pot and add in your citric acid. The big one. Yeah. So add in the citric acid, and then you're going to stir it with the slotted spoon. And it says vigorously. So stir vigorously with the slotted spoon. For about, let's see. All right. Now, if you would take that thermometer out of its cover and check the temperature of your milk and see where we are. Because we have to heat until it reaches 90. It may take a few minutes for us to reach 90. Let's see. And every once in a while, don't forget to take a picture. Good. All right, so what's our temperature right now?
Like 70 something.
Okay, so if it's 70
Close to
something,
80.
all right, what I want you to do is just lay your thermometer right there on that paper towel and add the lid. And what we'll do is wait a couple minutes, and then when you take the lid back off, stir it again, and then we'll put the lid back on. When you added that citric acid, did it start to change the milk at all? Okay.
No.
I think it has to get to a certain temperature before it really does. All right, use your slotted spoon and stir every once in a while. So go ahead and stir it a little bit. We'll take our temperature again in just a minute. All right. Yes. Replace this paper towel with one that doesn't have soap. And that way when you take your pot back out of the water, you can set it on that paper towel. All right, perfect. Check your temp again.
It's right at 80.
Okay, so it's still heating slowly. All right, we'll just put the lid back on and we'll let it sit for another minute or two. So we've got another 10 degrees to go. Now yesterday, what people did once they added their rennet, they set a timer so they could let it stand. I think it was 10 minutes is what the directions call for. All right, I'm gonna go scroll up on our document so we can see the next steps. All right, so really quickly while we're waiting to see what it says to do next, it does say that once we've reached 90 degrees, we're gonna take the pot off the burner and add the rennet and slowly stir it in with an up and down motion with a slotted spoon for approximately 30 seconds. And then we're gonna cover the pot and let it sit undisturbed for 5 minutes. It says if you're using raw milk, you might need to let it sit for 10 minutes. We have pasteurized milk, so 5 minutes. If it doesn't look like it's solidified enough, we can let it sit for a few more minutes. Anyway, when we take off the lid after our 5-minute period, hopefully we'll see something that looks like custard. And that's you're gonna hopefully see solid chunks of casein that have kind of solidified, and then whey. If you still have very milky looking whey, it says to let it sit a little bit longer, okay? So this is kind of the step that's really critically important, that you look at your product and see, is it done doing what it needs to do? So anyway, that's what we're gonna do once we reach 90. And let's see, I've got that, yeah, I've got it on high, just checking the temperature. So one thing about this lab, there's a couple of wait times, but those wait times are important. So you gotta just sit and wait. I think what I'll do is I'll probably stop my video for the next wait time, and then I'll just have to like splice it together into one video or whatever. I'll have to figure that out.
Love how you're using
Say again.
oil toilet towel.
Mm-hmm. They're just really super absorbent.
Yeah.
So
Where do you get those?
I bought them at Home Depot.
Oh.
They're just called shop towels. All right, check that temp again because we don't want it to get past 90.
I see little chunks.
I think it's right there.
Say
It's at
again?
90.
Okay, so what you're gonna do now is get the lid out of the way and put your pot right there. And now it's time to add your rennet. And what it says is when you add your rennet, you're wanting to use your slotted spoon to stir slowly, but in an up and down motion, which is kind of strange. So don't go the circular, kind of do an up and down motion, which is weird. But go ahead and pour it all in. And then about 30 seconds stirring with an up and down motion, which is very odd.
He's like, how am I supposed to do this?
Yeah, so just up and down, up and down, up and down for about 30 seconds. Now, let's see. Just make sure you reach all aspects of the liquid. So, and if you need to stir it back and forth a little bit just to be getting it thoroughly mixed, that's fine too. So hopefully we get a good result again today.
Now my mom's gonna make me do mozzarella cheese. She's like, well, now that you know.
Now that you know how to do it, go ahead and make it for us. All right, now finish it up, but a swirly, and then put the lid on. All right, so that's good, about 30 seconds. That's good. So now, hopefully, when we take our lid back off in about 10 minutes, or we'll check at 5.